right, well, welcome. My name is Lisa Downing, and I'm here today with Chris Spheeris.
You're so professional. I'm really impressed. I'm happy to see you. You're a doll. I love you genuinely. You know that. So
I do. I appreciate it, and back at you.
Cool.
This is fun.
Thanks.
You know, I'm reminded of the first time that we met in person, and I don't know if you remember this, but I was performing at the Creative Life Center.
I do
You
remember.
were the audience, part of the audience.
Yes.
And it was so cool of you because I know Pete was going to give you a free ticket, and you're like, no. I need to support you.
Did I insist on supporting you?
Yes.
What a nice guy I was.
Yes,
I think these days I'd probably take the ticket. No.
Such a nice guy.
I have an exciting announcement to make. I have just acquired this beautiful studio. No, I hijacked it from my friend Joel Plimmer, and he's a hostage in the bathroom until I figure out how to use it and how to record my entire new piano record on it. And then I'll let him out of the bathroom.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, what do you think of that?
I think we should never let him out because I want to use it too.
Okay, well, gosh. We can just feed him under the doors.
I know.
Poor Joel. Gosh. Poor guy. Anyway, no, it's nice to be in this beautiful studio with this beautiful piano.
Isn't this wonderful? This is a lot of fun. We were just talking about not knowing what fun was. I'm trying to think of what's fun in my life. This is fun.
Yeah. And you know what? I'm going to pay you a compliment, and I know we're here to promote me, but I have to say this. I heard your concert at the MIM, at the Musical Instrument Museum in Phoenix.
Oh, yeah.
You were delightful.
Oh.
And you were, what's the word? You were so sparkly. No, you were. You wore sparkles in what you wore, but you were just sparkly on stage.
Oh.
And I was really proud of you because I've known you long enough. I just thought, you're just beautiful up there.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, we've got a little mutual admiration society going here, don't
I was
we?
waiting for that. No.
Well, tell me about your new project. That's what I'm here to talk about, is your new project.
Yeah, I'm getting married. That's my new project. That's
too.
the #1 project.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
I'm so
Do I have a project? I don't remember.
You do.
Which one?
Yeah. That's what we're here to talk about. You tell me which project. Now, you've got some spoken word stuff that you've been doing. And I know you're performing spoken word. And you're here in Boulder, and you're going to be doing some stuff coming up quick, right?
Yeah. That's 2 things in Boulder. This weekend, was the 26th is Friday, I think?
That's right.
27th is Saturday. Friday evening at 7 o'clock at the Unity of Boulder, I'm doing a concert, which is instrumental music, piano, guitar, vocal music, and some spoken word things. I always try to pick right before the concert to feel where the audience is going to be before they even walk in the door. I just get an intuitive feeling. So I'm going to share a little bit of that. And then the next day, I'm doing a workshop from 1 to 5 at the Unity. And it's going to be basically getting in touch with the best part of yourself, living a full and genuine life, and things that keep us from doing it, and exercises that free us, all based on, you're going to love this, creativity.
Really?
Yeah.
I am going to love this.
Well, that's who we are.
Yeah.
That's what we are.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about that. Tell me a little bit about creativity and how that can change our lives.
Well, I think it is our lives. I think everything is creation. Every moment is a creation in itself. And so what I live these days is, what can I create out of this moment? Because if I don't approach it that way, the moment creates me. And it's much more interesting if I look at everything as raw material and I go, okay, I've got this here and you there, and how can we make this fun or interesting or engaging or genuine or real or passionate, or however it works in whatever context you're in. And I approach music like that too. I don't really think that I'm going to come in with the song. It's like, how can I tap into my nature, which is my passion, and let it find me? Mm-hmm. And that's kind of how and then it plays me things, it discovers my fiance, it brings me to Boulder, it does all these things for me. And a lot of it is just being really receptive.
Now you are performing all over the world. So tell me a little bit about that.
It depends on the definition of performing, but no, I'm not doing a lot of performing right now, but I am, I'm arranging to do some work in Greece in the near future. I've got a promoter there. They just have to figure out their economy and everything. And I will be relocating to the Canary Islands in fall and starting a whole new life there.
Oh my God.
And so I have no idea what that's going to be. Really
very creative, no doubt.
Always creative. Yeah, if not that, I don't breathe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I got to talk about this. So when you and I actually met beyond that little performance in Arizona, We were in Boulder, at the Boulder Cafe. Did you know they closed that?
No.
It's closed.
That's like the classic corner.
It is.
The hotel's
Iconic.
still there, right?
The hotel is still there, but this is down a little bit.
Oh, the other one.
Yeah.
Right on the mall.
On the mall. And you and I
Oh.
met there and we were talking and got to know each other a little bit. And one of the things that you told me about was a life change, literally a life-changing situation that happened with your dad. We were talking about both of our dads.
Yeah.
So talk a little bit about that.
Sure. I mean, it's a total paradigm buster because, long story short, I arrived at a hospital one early morning, late night, and my father had had a very bad heart attack, and they were taking 30 minutes of CPR to try to revive him so his heart could beat on its own. And when I arrived, the doctor asked me, he said, "What would you like us to do? We cannot get his heart to start on its own. And from what we've been doing, I can pretty much guarantee you his brain is not going to be functional in any way, even if his heart were to start again." And I knew my dad, and I just said, "Well, just let go. He would rather have you not do this." Mm-hmm. So, long story short, we went in with my stepmom, his wife Nancy, and we went into the emergency room there, and he was lying there dead. Mm. And they had pulled all the monitors off, and the doctor apologized. And we were in there, and 10 minutes later, they had to pronounce him dead, and they took the flashlight, and his pupils obviously were non-responsive. And I mean, he was as close as I am to you, mm-hmm. and nothing was moving. And I even felt his pulse on occasion. So he was dead. There was no doubt about it.
He was gone for a long time, right?
Altogether, over 40 minutes.
Wow.
Altogether. We don't even know at what point he might have checked out during the CPR, because he doesn't remember anything except what it felt like to be in limbo.
Wow.
Which was really interesting. And that's really the point of the story isn't really about what it feels like to be dead, but I'll tell you, he loved it. He absolutely loved where he went. It didn't have the big Hollywood tunnel thing and all that, but he said it was the most peaceful, beautiful feeling he's ever felt in his life. And he looks forward to going back. It was really lovely what he came back with. He doesn't remember anything for 5 days around the episode, though. So it's interesting that he retained that, but nothing else.
Now, you were playing music to him at that moment, right? As you felt like he was making his transition.
I don't know much about death because I haven't been in the presence of many people who've died, but he just looked so beautiful and the room felt so peaceful. And so I thought, I got a video that our dear friends Tammy and Steve did one night when I dedicated the song to my father, who was in the front row. And we got that on YouTube. The song's called Chorepse, which means dance in Greek. And that was always his favorite song. So I thought, let me play the video of me dedicating the song to him with him in the audience. So I played it to him twice. And, I don't really mean to connect the two, the song and what happened next, but he started to swallow. And I noticed his Adam's apple moving. And this was preposterous.
Wow.
And I brought the nurse in. I said, "Is this supposed to happen when somebody dies?" And the nurse said, "No." I said, "Well, just watch." And when it happened again, she just said, "Oh my God." They put the monitors on him, and his heart was beating like right away. Yeah, we have a heartbeat, and then he put the mask on, he started breathing, and then the nurse just collapsed. She literally collapsed in a chair, sobbing, bawling. She'd been part of the crew that had worked on him all this time.
Wow. And
when the medical report came back, weeks later, it said patient miraculously regained heartbeat and respiration.
Miraculous.
Miraculous. They use that word in the medical report.
Wow.
It's one of my favorite things that I have. And the reason I share this story with people is that for people to entertain the notion that we don't just live in a linear world. There are so many things that do happen and can happen that are literally miraculous. We call them miraculous. They're impossible. I've had a number of impossible things, including my dad's episode happen, that can't be explained by anybody or anything. And that's part of our nature. So I feel like we shouldn't be constrained to logic and reason and linear thinking when we have another 50% of this beautiful, creative, impossible quantum leap world that we can also tap into. And the reason I found this principle is by being an artist, a creator. I think everyone's a creator, everyone who's alive and everything that's alive. But imagine you walk up to your piano, which I know you've done many times, nothing exists, and maybe 15 minutes later, something really beautiful has just come through you and all of a sudden exists in the world.
Yeah.
Okay, so that feeling, I feel like we do that as humans, life does that through us, through everything, and that's the beautiful, miraculous creative process. And so I tell a story about my father to encourage people, to just know that we have the capacity to create miracles, to create something from nothing. There is no logic to us writing a song.
Right.
There's no reason. It comes out of that completely mysterious, like, what the heck, where did that come from, right? Especially the good stuff, the real good stuff, you know? So anyway, that's why I tell the story.
But tell me more deeply, how did that situation, how did it affect you on a personal level?
Wow, that's a great question, and I guess I have given that some thought. The first thing was, it confirmed to me the notion of a soul. I always thought the soul, especially as it's depicted through Christian mythology, is sort of convenient. We have a soul, it's in our body, it goes somewhere after we're done, and if you're good it goes here, and if you're bad it goes there. I mean, that's all very convenient, and even in Hinduism, you reincarnate, your soul does this, and if you do things right, you end up in nirvana. I always thought that was just convenient, and I didn't really feel the truth of it. But after my father's episode, I palpably had this experience where his soul left his body, went somewhere, and came back in. Because I could feel the difference, not only in his body, but in the room, when the soul came back in. Mm. That's a huge epiphany to have and to experience. And so a lot of that hits me on a very cellular level. It's not an intellectual thing where I go, oh, he's got a soul. A lot of it just changed my chemistry just by being in that room, because the energy of that transition does something on a molecular level that I can't even describe.
Right.
And I believe that the strongest influence it's had on me is reaffirming my ability to create my universe and my world. Me as the universe, me as God, whatever you want to call it.
Right. Not
me as little me. Me as little me, I'm so bored with, I'm so over. You know, really, I just spend way too much time with him. He's a lot of work. But you know, me as the universe, it's kind of an endless possibility, you know.
Right.
The ultimate ego trip is that I'm everything.
Wow. And tell me about your dad now.
He's still around. I talk to him, I see him 4 or 5 times a week. He's as sharp as can be. The only thing, he doesn't remember, like, you know, what he ate a few days ago, but I mean, other than that, who does, right? Right, yeah. But he is so on his game, he's funny, he's witty, and this is 1 year and 7 months later.
Did you tell me that when he first re-entered his body that he could only speak Greek for a while?
No, what I told you, but that's actually a good memory, because this was 1.5 years ago, so I'm surprised you remember anything, really. I don't remember what I said. But what I did say is that afternoon, which was about 12 hours after his episode, his friend called, and he was coherent enough to be on the phone and speak in 2 languages.
Wow.
I mean, he did speak Greek, so it was a natural language. He didn't start speaking Greek out of nowhere.
No.
That would have been a real miracle. Right? That would have been so
Greek
cool.
to me.
All right. So, you know, he was coherent enough and present enough to speak Greek and English 12 hours after he was dead.
Wow.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah. That's more than just pretty cool. My goodness. And I got to tell you that story changed me. Just hearing your story. I mean, you know, so my father passed away. At that point, when you and I were having that lunch, it was about 1 year after my father had passed away. So I was still really feeling it. And to be honest, I was kind of jealous of you, you know, because your dad came back to life, and I'm thinking, wow, was it because of the music? Maybe I should have played more music for my dad, or something, you know what I mean? I mean, I kind of get it now, but you're right. It's like there's no words for that. It's that cellular change that happens in the presence of the transition.
You know what else I got, Lisa, regarding even what you said about your dad? I feel so strongly that our souls make these decisions to come or go, and they have nothing to do with our awareness, nothing to do with what our life situation is, nothing to do with whether we want to be here or not. The soul has its own, a mind of its own. And it's sort of the universal mind in its own thing, differentiating into a soul, which differentiates into us. But I think the soul makes the decision, you know, and says, okay, it's time to go wherever we go, you know, whether it's back somewhere or forward somewhere. But I felt really strongly my dad was completely out of his personality, because the energy I felt in the room while he wasn't in his body did not feel like my father. It had no fatherness to it. He was so beyond that. He was in his soul, which the soul doesn't have a personality as far as my own sort of opinion of what a soul is.
Sure.
It's just that beautiful, unbiased, non-judgmental, unconditional place of consciousness, you know, and I felt like his energy was filled in the room, but it didn't feel like him. It just felt like this beautiful, warm, peaceful thing. And then when he came back and said it felt beautiful, warm, and peaceful, it was as if he shared some of that with me. Because at no point did I feel hysterical or like this was a huge tragedy and break down and do this. I mean, I cried later when he came back. That was real emotional for me. But him dying, you know, an older man who's uncomfortable in his body and this and that,
Yeah.
it would have been, okay, you know, it's time to rest.
How old is your dad?
He's 91 now.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. My dad would have been 90, so our father's
Aren't
same
we lucky?
age. Yeah.
Really, aren't we fortunate? It's
Yeah.
beautiful, right?
Yeah. That's interesting. More than just.
So what else do you want to know?
I want.
What else have you really wondered about me?
Well, you know, so all this creativity that you've been talking about, you know, this path, even just since I've known you, and so the music is happening, the spoken word is happening, and then you met her.
Well, yeah, I mean, I focused on my creative process and applied it to art almost all my life. But I think the big change at some point was to realize that, wow, why don't I create my life like I create my art? You know, it's a little more challenging. The palette's a lot more interesting and a lot broader, right?
Right.
But it's the same process. It's the process of showing up, surrendering, becoming a servant to that energy that just wants to be our best and wants to create through us. So when I really, through my workshops too, because this is really the crux of my workshops is what we're talking about right now, when I really started applying myself creatively to how I make a day or how I want my life to be, and things actually started to shift more. I think that miraculous thing that my dad showed me also opened the palette to all the iridescent colors. There's like a whole other thing there, you know? And so I created the most amazing woman that I had known 20 years ago for a year. We'd had a very innocent relationship for a year.
Wow.
And about 11 months ago, I felt her energy and I communicated with her, and she communicated with me and I communicated with her, and we just very soon realized that destiny wrote our story and it's already written and we're just falling into it.
Wow. That's beautiful.
It's amazing.
I love that you're creating your life the way you create your art. That's something. So it seems like your performances or whatever workshops are, it's about all of it. It's not just about the music, you know, so there's concerts, like I might do, you know, a concert and it's about the music and hi, how you doing? Here's the music and now I'm done. But this is different, what you're doing. This is something else. This is something unique, something that I haven't heard of very much before. It's about, and it's not just about a workshop and now we're doing your life and now we're doing, and now come and see the big concert, you know, but it's all very connected, it sounds like.
It's all the same, Lisa. And really what I said the other night at a concert, I finally confessed to people, because I did Walk With Me, and I've been singing Walk With Me for, I don't know, was it 29 years now? And I sing it at every concert. And I do a lot of my songs that I've done over time, especially in my hometown in Sedona. And I said, you know guys, I finally confess that it's never been about the songs for me. The songs are just an excuse to get up here and share energy with you and share yours with me. And really, I think it's all about presence. It's all about vibration. The songs aren't about the notes or the tones or the harmonies. The songs are about the vibrational signature of that expression in that moment through you and then back through you out to the audience. So if you abstract it all, it's just getting this vibration which is intimating some state of consciousness that you were in when you created it, which was probably something very real and palpable and beautiful. And so what the audience gets, whether it's through our presence, our verbiage, our piano playing, our singing, our spoken voice tone, because there's a melody in the voice now, which I think has become my new instrument, is my spoken voice, because it has cadence, it has timbre, it has melody, it has all the things that an instrument has. So for me, that is my instrument now. And it's kind of like solo voice, you know, just performing on the spoken voice. But the idea is that what I got the other night, which is so obvious to me, is that workshop, concert, personal life, whatever, it's just an exchange of vibration and energy. and we intimately, all of us in the same space, room, according to what agreements we are as far as how open we are or how receptive we are, we're just all available to have this big love fest. You know, I mean, really, that's all it is. So I could play the same songs for the next 30 years, and they would feel different when I do them, because I'm never in the same place each time I do them. I've already shifted to some new place, which is hopefully more expanded, more open, more loving, more connected. So that's a little different view of a concert or songs, but you're right to say that all my expressions now are tied in that way.
This is interesting. And so, did you see that cool thing on Facebook where it seems like scientists were able to raise the vibrational energy from the sun enough to be able to be heard by human ears? Did you hear this? And the vibration is Om from the sun.
You know, that sounds so Sedona. That's amazing, actually. It sounds completely Sedona.
Doesn't it?
Of course it's going to be an Om.
Of course it is.
And you know, and
Isn't
probably
that
the Jewish people would say they heard Hava Nagila Hava or something,
maybe.
or you know, whatever they're going to say. I think that's fascinating, and I'm always fascinated by humans in the way we have a way to interpret everything through our own consciousness. We make God look like a human, act like a human, have the same vengeance as a human, the same judgments, all that stuff. And I just think that's a fantastic thing that humans came up with, to hear the Om in the sun. Yeah.
Well, and I wonder about just what you were saying about the human voice, about your voice having timbre and pitch, and you're able to use that. And I wonder if if vibration isn't just the creative energy of all.
That I go with completely. I mean, I think that's beautiful. And as you're saying that, I'm listening to the tone of your voice, which is so soothing, so genuine, so warm, so sincere, that I get more about you just from your timbre. You could be speaking at Chinese and I would get the same, I would get who you are. You have a fantastic voice.
Wow.
And I know you a little bit, so it works, it matches. Really,
That's cool.
It is cool.
And back at you. Well, this has been fabulous. I do want to ask, before we wrap this up, I want to ask about the previous years of your career. Tell me a little bit about the previous years of your career, your musical career. How did you get started? How did you start with guitar? Did you start with piano? Did you start kind of with an intuitive feeling that you wanted to share the vibe with the audience? I mean, how did that start for you?
Okay, it's a bit of a story, but I mean, we're here, right?
Yeah.
It started with a divine accident. My dearest friend, oldest friend in life, Paul Viduris, at the age of 19 was here in Colorado at the Air Force Academy, and he assisted someone on an exam and got caught, and therefore he was discharged. Which sounds like a bad thing, but the good thing is I called Paul shortly after that, not knowing this, and said, Paul, I've been thinking about music. You want to do this together? Because I can't really do it on my own. He said, Chris, I just got discharged. I don't even know what to do. I said, well, how about if we go to college and do music together, which is what we ended up doing. And that was the beginning of an incredible collaboration, which goes up until, we still collaborate. This has been 40-something years now.
Holy cow.
So it started with an accident, and Paul and I were together for 6 years as singer-songwriters, doing our own original style of, not even folk, but it was mixed in with like early Genesis and Peter Gabriel and a little touch of Brian Eno and some Vangelis. We had this style of with all our beautiful influences, with a little Joni Mitchell. And we did it for 6 years, and then another occurrence happened. Paul decided to move back to Greece, which sounded like bad news because it was sad for me. My dearest friend, we're getting a divorce. But what that happened then is, out of sort of my constant desire to create and a very real sense of loneliness, I built a studio in my mother's basement and started composing instrumental compositions. Just like my soul needed a voice, and this sort of slightly disconnected, lonely feeling I was feeling kind of came out, this sense of longing, especially in my early compositions. And through that, zing, zing, zing steps happened, and Columbia Records at the time heard like a cassette demo of mine. Wow. It went really fast. And some of the songs I wrote during that first time in my mom's basement when I was first learning to play the piano and the synthesizer, I still play those. They're still some of my favorites. They were on Desires of the Heart. There's songs like like Field of Tears and Andalou, and I think those are like my two favorites. Lovers and Friends I play sometimes for people who know my music.
Mm-hmm.
So they still endure with their sense of longing.
Now
That's the very beginning.
you've certainly enjoyed a certain level of fame, if we'll call it that. Tell me what that felt like, I mean, so there you were creating instrumental music, you know, someone at Columbia got the cassette and suddenly your life's different. How is it different?
Within a year I'd sold over 275,000, CDs and cassettes at the time, which is about 250,000 more than I'd ever sold in my life anyway. Okay. It's funny about fame in my career because I spent most of my career in the studio by myself, and then sometimes with my engineers and other musicians later. So I never really saw much of that. I just know that it was selling, and since I was not a performer for 20 years, because that really wasn't my preference, I was in my own little world. So fame, I didn't know what that meant. I was famous enough to be sent to Spain 20 years ago to do a promotion on the Canary Islands and be interviewed. And the woman that I'm going to marry was the woman who interviewed me.
Oh my gosh!
I'm telling you,
Okay,
destiny's got a mind of its
wow.
own. It really does.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I'm glad I asked that.
So it did connect me. Fame, that was really, to me, the only useful part of fame was it connected me to her, because I didn't really notice it, nor did I really care much about it, and nor do I care much about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of an interesting space to be in. I mean, if you're a performer, it's like the whole people recognize you. You can't really go anywhere without somebody going, "Aren't you that guy?"
I had that for 10 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know what that feels.
Did you like it?
Not at all.
No.
I like people, but I like being in my own little quiet place. I like to choose when to interact with people.
Mm-hmm.
So now it doesn't matter. Now I'm just some verging 60 guy.
No, but I bet even now, if nobody knew who you were and you walked into a grocery store, people would be like, "He's somebody. I think he's somebody."
Well, thank you for that compliment.
Well, that's the truth.
When I'm in Walgreens and I see the mirror and look up and I see myself, I go, "I think that guy's somebody." So, yeah.
Well, there you go. Well, Chris, thank you so much. This has been such a great look inside your life and inside the new projects. And of course, you've got a concert coming up. Tell me the date of that.
Friday the 26th of February at Unity of Boulder at 7 o'clock. Yeah, that'll be a solo show of mine, and then Saturday the next day will be the workshop from 1 to 5. All available through Unity of Boulder. You can call there. I don't have the number in front of me. But I want to tell you something, pay you a compliment, because we've never done this sort of question, answer, question, let's have a conversation. You're really good at this.
Oh.
No, you really are. And I'm not just saying that because you pose the questions well, but you're so warm and open and personable that it makes me just so comfortable to talk. And I think you have another place where you could be doing something with this, really.
Wow.
I mean, I would listen to an interview show that you had with other people or artists or whatever. You're that good. I mean that genuinely. I do. I think you're amazing. Seriously, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Good to see you.